Hi there, I'm Robert Renman. Welcome to this edition of Q&A with yours truly. And today I'm going to talk about 13 chords. But before I do that, I just want to remind you that you can send in a question as well. Just send me a question and maybe I'll feature your question next time. So let's get started on the 13 chords. What are they and how do you play one? And why do you play one? I got this question from Randy. Well, Randy, let me explain it this way. We have an A7 chord. I'm sure you know it. We can play it in different ways. But as always, I always focus when I teach guitar that my students learn the intervals of these chords that we create. So let's just do that quickly with using the A Mixolydian mode for A. And the reason for that is that most people, when they talk about 13 chords, they're talking about dominant chords. And those are chords that include a minor seventh. So the scale that fits into those chords is, or the mode, is the Mixolydian mode. So we take the scale, starting on the root note A, and then we just give each note a number. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we get the octave 8. It starts over there again. So if we pick out 1, 3, 5, which is the most basic form of a chord, we get this one, which is useful in its own way. I like to use that one sometimes, but it's kind of dark sounding. So what I often do is I rearrange things a little bit. So I have the 1 here still. I'm skipping the A string and go directly to the minor 7th note here. And then, since this was the octave 8, we can continue there until we get to, so this is 8, 9, 10. So the note that's 10 is actually the same as the third. It's C sharp. So now I can play 1, 7, and 3. It's the same notes as here, but I get a different voicing. It sounds better. You can do more with it. Right? And so on. That's a cool voicing. And you can play it with 3 fingers. You can do barring. Just have to make sure you don't get the A string ringing when you're barring. So let's continue from there on. We have the third on top here now, which is also you can call it the 10. It's not very often used, but it's the same note. Like it means the same. It means C sharp in any way. If we continue from there, 10, following the Mixolydian, we get 11, which is also a chord you get to run into, but I'll continue now and go to 13. So 11, 12, and 13. That's the note we're looking for. Yeah. So now we can take that one and combine with the 7, the 3, now with 13. It's also the 6. You can also view it as a 6. But since we're continuing from the 1 all the way up to 13 in terms of the octave happening here, so we get this chord that you can play in different ways. You can start with A7 and you just add your pinky here. Anytime you have a 7 chord and you get the 13th note in there, it just becomes a 13th chord. Now, the way I often like to play it is with 4 fingers, no barring, like that. Right? It's very jazzy sounding, but you can use it in blues as well. One different way of chording or gripping it that I want to show you that's pretty cool, which is a bit hard too, but you'll hear guys like Robert Ford and others do it, and it has its usefulness. So you get the root note with your thumb, and then you use, well, either these three fingers, or you skip the ring finger. It depends on your neck, the length of your fingers, how you can reach around. But that way it's movable. And I often don't do it, to be honest, because I get my thumb is a bit short. But it's cool sometimes, because what you can also do with that, especially if you use these three fingers, then you can use your pinky to create some. You can add it at the bottom as well. Then we get the 13th chord that has a 9 in it. And you can, if you can reach around, you can go. You have then the root here as well. Well, that's quite tricky. And we're looking for that note at the bottom. I might have to do barring for that. I know I used to be able to do it. Not today, apparently. There. But you can, of course, skip the root note. You don't always need to have that thing. Then it's much easier. This is still a 13 chord. I just don't have access to, due to my short thumb, non-flexible thumb, I don't have access to the root note. There. Some people can do it easily. But even if we skip it, I can go do this type of things. And you can play around with that 7 up here too. Now, here's the 13th, and here's the 5. Little melody. I moved up a half step here, which is cool, and when you have a jazzy sounding tune. So I encourage you to experiment with that chord. Now that's just one voicing. You can play it in different ways. Just have to think about 1, 7, 3, get them somehow. And then you just continue until you get the 13th. If I do this, for example, same grip as here. 7 on top, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. I can't reach it there, but maybe I can find it there. Oh, there was a 12, it didn't count way up. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, there we go. Now we have another voicing. I can skip the root note. And I turn this into a 9 chord. The 9 is here. I can play like before. Or use the root note here again. Move it up to the 9. Sorry, I have an A 9/13. That's a note. and so on. Anyway, that's the 13th chord. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think, and send me a question for the next episode of Q&A with this guy. Thanks for your support. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.